You're about to see a different kind of Barn Find Hunter episode. There are few places on earth that have so much automotive history as when you come to Detroit. And I don't live here, but I love it here. And I use any excuse to stay here as long as I can. So what we're gonna do is take you for kind of a little magical mystery tour of automotive, Detroit, Dearborn, just give you a flavor of what's still here from the old days. We're literally walking on hollowed ground. So here's a building I imagine was put up in the 30s, and it's Ford Motor Company Engineering Laboratory. You can see up there, there's this little artwork and it says agriculture. Well, that's because Henry Ford was basically a farm boy, and everything he did, he took farmers into consideration. Henry Ford had a deep respect for scientists, engineers, and inventors. But look at the names that he had inscribed on top. Now, Charles Darwin for sure, Ampere, Da Vinci, Leonardo da Vinci, Franklin, Fulton, Whitney, Bell, Marconi, the Wright brothers, Burbank, Thomas Edison, Burroughs, Kirby, Diesel, Faraday, Otto, Newton, Dunlop, Pasteur, Galileo. I mean, those are the people that he was hoping to inspire his engineers to produce things in this building of that magnitude. Pretty great. We're in Royal Oak, Michigan, and we got a lead on a very special Mustang last night, which seemingly is one of the oldest Mustangs on earth. How you doing, Art?
Hello, Tom. How you doing? Art Cairo.
Thanks for agreeing to meet us.
Ah, my pleasure. My pleasure.
Now, could you bring it out so the lighting will be
Absolutely. Be happy to.
Art's going to tell us about one of the rarest Mustangs in history.
Hey, let's move Henry over here so he can oversee what we're doing.
So, Hank, tell me about owning this car. What was it like? All right, so I'm just gonna play detective. I'm gonna ask you lots of questions.
Very good.
So what makes this car special?
Well, what makes it special is this car was a prototype build that they started in 1963. Henry received it from the styling labs. Gail Halderman was the chief design engineer. They did not put any badging on the fenders, as you can see.
Oh, look at that, yeah.
And no badging whatsoever, even though it was a K code. The wheels are styled steel, although going through my history on the car, the original wheels Henry didn't like. He had them taken off, put styled steel wheels on it, and saved the four wheels in the crib. They sat in storage until Henry gave the car to his chauffeur. He told the exec garage to get the wheels and put them back in the car, and lo and behold, the wheels were gone. They got stolen. That guy lost his job. They left the styled steel wheels on it.
Got it.
What's unique about the car is because it was a prototype, all the latches were chromed and no spot welds. All this was lead.
Check this out. A normal Mustang, you'd see this piece of metal overlapping this one, and there'd be spot.
Exactly.
This is totally smooth, like a custom car.
Exactly.
And it was a custom car.
It was a custom car.
So this was a hand-built prototype.
Yes. Even the vinyl roof is padded.
A padded vinyl roof. Leather seats. Were leather seats ever
Were never ever available in a Mustang, ever. This is the original seating. The only thing I did to it was I gave it a coat of back to black leather conditioner and left them alone. I didn't have to restuff them.
You've had this out for how long?
1975.
What inspired you to buy this in 75?
Well, I'll show you the want ad. I was doing Model A's at the time. I love Ford Model A's, and I had a 31. I'm looking for fenders, and this catches my eye. It says, the guy lived in Dearborn. What I found out later, he was the friend of Henry Ford's chauffeur, because Henry Ford had given the car to his chauffeur. His chauffeur drove it until 1970 and then sold it to this guy, so when I looked at the car, I thought, well, this is a cool car. Then I
What
noticed,
kind of shape was it in?
It was a rust bucket. It was a Michigan
Really?
Mustang. Yeah, the floor pans, the quarters.
Really? So from what I understand, this has spent its whole life like within 20 miles of here. It's
lived within 3 miles of here.
So when did you realize you had something special? Did you know it from the day you bought it?
Okay, so let me pull out the owner's manual that was in the car. And I thought this car belonged to Edsel. The owner's manual said Edsel B. Ford II.
So Edsel, but he would have just been a kid then, right?
He was 16 at the time, but this is what it said. It said Edsel B. Ford II, Lakeshore Drive, Grosse Pointe, a 2+2 fastback. And that was a K code, if you can see. That was a K720.
Fastback.
And a fastback.
And is that Where's the serial number on this?
Right there, number 5F09K.
That's not this car?
That's not this car,
Oh, okay.
but I got this information, and there was a gentleman by the name of Jim Smart who was doing articles on In Search of Mustangs. And at the time, I wrote him a letter. I worked at Ford, of course. He responded back when I was in Fond du Lac, Wisconsin, doing machine runoff, and it was late at night, and I called him. You told me your car belonged to Edsel. And I said, yeah. And he says, no, it was Henry's car, his daddy's car. I said, what? So that's when I first found out that this particular car belonged to Henry.
Isn't that something?
So that was probably 1979. I had done a minor restoration on it. I put some quarter patch panels on it, and I retrofitted some, and I painted it. It looked pretty good. Then I took the car to a car show called Carnival of Cars in Utica, Michigan. And out of 100 possible points, they were giving me like 55 because the judges said, well, it's got leather interior. Yeah, well, they never had leather. And you've got disc brakes. They never had disc brakes. So they knocked me down. And a guy from California approached me. He was a broker. And he said to me, I'll give you 17. I thought 1,700. No. Maybe 3,500, right? Because that's what GTs were going for. As it turns out, it was 17,000.
Whoa.
And I said, whoa, no, not for sale. And then I knew something was even more special. So I kept doing my due diligence on the vehicle and found out more and more and more. Now, 1981, Henry was supposed to meet us in front of the Rensen because Ford owned the Rensen back then. And we got there early in the morning with this car, and they brought in the new 81 Ford GT Mustang, and they had them side by side, and we're waiting, and Henry never came down, but Edsel came down. And that's really the first time I met Edsel.
No kidding.
And I said, where's Mr. Ford? He said, oh, he decided to go to Florida. Hey, you can do that when your name's in the building. We met with Edsel, had lunch with him, and then he talked all about this car, how, his dad brought it home and how cool it was, and he couldn't wait, and then his dad gave him the white one for Christmas. So
isn't that something?
Since then, Edsel signed the glove box for me.
And so, one thing I want to bring to mind here is that, if you're not familiar with Mustang history, this was like an out-of-the-box, totally new design of a car. There was no such thing as a kind of a personal sports car at the time. Ford made Galaxies. They made a Fairlane, which was kind of a squarish version. They made the Falcon, but this was a brand new thing. Do you remember the dealerships had paper
over their windows? Yeah.
And it was like, you couldn't go into a Ford dealership. I mean, I'm a PR guy, a lifelong PR guy, and there was so much hype about this, a Mustang? They were being shipped to dealerships in closed trucks so people couldn't see them. And then they had the grand unveiling on what day?
April 14th.
You could write a textbook how to do a rollout of a new car or any new product the way this was, because it was never done before and it could never happen again. So
absolutely.
Can you pop the hood?
Absolutely. So here's a K code, dual points, so there's no vacuum advance. It has a special water pump. This is aluminum.
Right.
Now this car was retrofitted with an alternator as opposed to the old generator, because that's what you would have gotten at that time the car was built.
So it's got power steering and power brakes, and it's power disc brakes.
You can't see them, but they're there. And then they also put they put the Ford pump on it, not the Eaton pump.
So I see your solenoid, like a Bakelite brown.
That is the one that was on this car. And
these are always black.
They put insulation on the hood.
Oh, look at that.
Which made it kind of unique.
So is this the only one you've ever seen?
The only one I've ever seen.
So this was a special car for a special guy.
Right.
So you tore it apart yourself?
Pretty much. I took the body to a company called Rustbusters in Redford. Unfortunately, they're no longer in business. The father had died and the son moved to Arizona.
So you replaced only what was absolutely necessary?
Only what was absolutely necessary. Unfortunately, the fenders, the door skins, and the quarters were replaced. And that's all new old stock. I had to search the world for it and pay big money for it, but that's what I wanted on this car. This wasn't going to be another, because I did like 6 other Mustangs. And it was, so I mean, I could buy Taiwan fenders or something, so what, but not on this car.
Well, can you show us some of the paperwork you've got?
Absolutely. All right, so we go left to right here. This is the original ad that I got March 19th of 1975, and it says, Mustang 65 special made for Ford family, triple black, 289 high performance engine, extras throughout, $525.
Did you talk them down?
I did. I talked them down to 500. Hey, right?
Put it there, man.
And this is a letter from Jim Smart authenticating the car that it belonged to Edsel. That was after our lunch with Edsel that day.
Isn't that something?
The rear seat had this tag on it. It says W.C. Ford, which would have been William Clay Ford. William Clay was in charge of the design studio at the time. So they probably put that tag on it saying, this is for our boss. This is what he wants.
Designated for leather covering.
Exactly.
What is this?
This is on the heads, okay? XE, experimental heads.
Yeah.
When we went to rebuild the heads, we had a bump in the road trying to find the right valves for it. But I put hardened seats in it just because you can't.
So what's the dollar sign there for?
I don't know. And here's another one. This was approved 12/13/63.
So were you able to move that over to your new fender?
Oh, this is all kept parts. These are parts that I did not
okay.
I did not replace. We just sandblasted them, as you could see.
Yeah.
And I kept them.
64.5 Mustang, it's got a lot of publicity over the years, is when it came out. But you can see that this one, 12/13/63, so just before Christmas, 4.5 months before the Mustang was actually introduced, these parts are being made for this car. Gail Haldeman Museum.
He was the manager of the Design Center studio who had this car in his styling lab, and he's the one who built it. So he talks about it here, how it was hand-built at Highland Park.
One-off pre-production prototype, built in the Allen Park pilot plant.
Now, that's where I worked for 20 years.
No kidding.
Yeah.
As stated, this particular Raven Black coupe was built for Henry Ford II's personal use. Mr. Ford was partial to black exterior vehicles with leather interior. It was specified and built that way. Man, that's pretty special.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool. So these I had made up. This was the teardown of the car. Okay, so it says Henry Ford's car. That's on the cluster, on the back side of the cluster.
Right now?
Right now, handwritten. Kind of cool. Yeah, there's a, see, you can see that tonneau cover, transmission cover, scatter shield.
So that was built onto the car, not at the transmission.
That's correct. They bolted it right here, you could see.
I've never seen that.
Yeah.
Usually it's the bell housing.
It's exactly right. So yeah, they put it right in there.
I mean, for a Ford history buff, this is like a special day, I gotta tell you.
Oh, cool. And there's the 9-inch rear end.
It had a 9-inch.
And a 9-inch, yeah. This plate is on the floor of the driver's side, and it's that thick, and it's die-cast chrome.
On top of the carpet.
On top of the carpet.
I
No floor mat.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
And it's screwed down, and
then
then
you got a piece of rubber on top of it.
Then the rubber was glued on top of it. It's exactly how it was when I got it. So I found rubber to match and cut it, and we just glued the rubber on top of it after we screwed it down to the floor
that was
pad.
a Henry probably thing. Oh, he doesn't like floor mats because they roll up
Exactly,
under his
and back
heel.
then they did.
Right, wow.
They didn't have the clip. All right, so let me take you through the interior. The sun visors are leather. That's where Gail Halderman signed that sun visor for me. Headliner, leather. Dash crash pad, leather. If you go look at the radio, these are special knobs on the radio. They're actual teak wood.
No kidding.
And these are die-cast radio buttons. They're not the plastic ones.
Wow.
The radio also has what they call studio sonic sound. So that's it without it.
Within their classrooms. These positions offer flexible hours and rewarding experience. EDU staff is seeking candidates for immediate involvement
cool.
within our
Like I feel I'm at a Jimi Hendrix concert or something.
Over here to the left is the fog light button.
Oh, yeah.
The other,
that's factory.
It's prototype because the others were flip and they didn't light up.
So Ford was still inventing the Mustang when this car was being built.
Yes.
Isn't that so
Yep. And that's why a lot of parts that are on this never made it to production because they may have said, "Oh, we're not going to do a steering wheel like this," or "We're not going to."
So this is unique. The teak on the console,
Right.
the teak on the dash.
Right.
This is this unique?
This
teak
is
on the wheel.
This is a the later ones were plastic.
Plastic, right?
This is a one-off. This thing weighs probably 12 to 15 pounds because it's all die cast on the back. This is die cast.
Yeah.
It's not. There's no plastic. Even that's die cast.
Can you show us the trunk?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Leather wrapped fuel neck.
What?
Yep. It had carpeting in it, the same as the interior. It was this thick, and I saved the carpeting.
That tall? The pile?
That tall, the pile.
Jeez.
And you could vacuum it forever and not get everything out of it.
See, all this stuff here is all, there's usually spot welds all throughout here where one panel met another, and there was no need to finish that because it was, when the trunk's closed, you couldn't see it. But this car is finished like a show car. It has perfectly smooth finishes.
Okay, this was the wheel molding that was on the vehicle.
And that's die
cast
And
and
that's
chrome.
heavy.
It's heavy.
Wow.
These are these are the production ones that they put on later, and they're aluminum. And because I could not get anything like that, that's what I put on the vehicle.
So this weighs 4 times as much as this.
Exactly.
At least. I mean, this doesn't even have any weight. Right.
But that was another unique
And is
part.
that the only?
It's the only one that I have.
I mean, the only one you've ever seen.
Yes.
So you've had this coming up on a half a century. Man,
Isn't that something? And it seems like just yesterday I got it, but you know how that goes.
I'm real lucky to have met somebody yesterday that knew you. He said, "Would you be interested in this?" I said, "Oh yeah."
Yeah.
So,
No.
Art, thank you so much.
Tom, thank you so much. I appreciate you taking the time to come out, and I look forward to seeing you again in the future.
So I have a feeling that even if you're a really diligent barn find hunter, probably not going to find a Mustang quite this special anytime soon. Why? This is one of the oldest Mustangs in the world, probably one of the first 10 built, hand-built for Henry Ford II. But if you do find something that special, call me up. We'll be there with cameras. Happy hunting.